Yes, let's get started. Well, welcome everyone to day 2 of Destination College. Thank you all so much for joining us on a Saturday morning. We greatly appreciate it. My name is Kim Wynn, and I am a college success advisor here at Fulfilment Fund. We're super excited to have our guest presenter and webinar here. Please welcome Gary B, who will be presenting on From Stress to Success, Finding the Perfect College and Paying for It. All right, take it away, Gary.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Kim, and thanks, Destination College, for hosting this. And especially thank you, students, parents, counselors, for being here. We're going to talk about going to college. Lots of changes. Now, some of you may already have either brother, sister, or sibling in college, which is great. Lots of changes. Students, as we think about going to college, keep in mind the changes. And I don't talk about the pandemic changes. Those were big changes. We'll address that as well. I bet many of you are stressing a little bit, and probably some of you are stressing a lot of it. And today we're going to talk about going from stress to success. I say it takes two things: ask questions, follow directions. Students, if you ask the right questions to the right people and follow the directions, will help you get admitted to college. We're going to talk about finding the perfect college and paying for it. Perfect college exists, and there could be more than one perfect college. And if I asked how much it cost, everybody's going to shout it costs a lot. So when we're talking about going to college, ask questions, follow directions. This is me, Gary B. This is being recorded, so you can go back if you have trouble sleeping some night, put this on, you'll be out like a light. No, I'm kidding. But certainly I'm happy to send it to you as well. Every college has an admissions office. So I'm an admissions counselor. What do admission counselors do? Well, we help students get admitted. And what do students do? Ask questions, follow directions. Look, I don't work for the Office of Rejection. I'm going to tell you exactly what it takes to be admitted to the University of New Mexico or any college. And every college has admission counselors. So students, parents, one of your first connections is to start reaching out to admission counselors. I'm a regional admission counselor. I live in Ventura, California, and I work for the University of New Mexico, but not at. So I get to travel. This past 2 weeks, I've been in San Diego, Orange County, LA, Las Vegas, Nevada. So I'm traveling all the time, meeting with students. We're doing a lot of face-to-face. I'm glad we're able to do this virtually today. It's super efficient because you could be anywhere in the world watching this. And when it's recorded, you can watch it anytime. One of the great connectors is this website here at the bottom, regionaladmissions.com. There are 120 out-of-state colleges that have put the resources into having regional admission counselors based in California because there are so many students here, great students, and we want to help. Ask questions, we'll help. We've got the answers. We'll help you get admitted. It's an amazing process. And for some of you, it could be this type. I had a student tell me, oh, you can't spell Gary B. I said, no, I'm here to take the stress out of the process, right? Hey, some of you are seniors, class of 2022, there's lots to do. And if you're 23, you're still in the right place. Sophomores, freshmen, not too early, I promise. It's early, but students, you have missed no deadlines. It's the middle of October. So you haven't missed any admission deadlines, application deadlines. You've done nothing but perfect so far. And we're going to make you even more perfect here by the end today. I hope you're eager and excited about going to college. I know I was when I was also a little nervous, and I bet, yeah, I don't know. I'm some of each. I call it that happy confliction. Well, if you're worried about the ACT, SAT, there have been changes on the college side. Many students during the pandemic had very difficult time to access the ACT or SAT. So colleges developed what I like to call pivot policies. And so during the pandemic and now post-pandemic, it's not completely over, right? But colleges said, hey, some of us are going to test free. The Cal States, the UCs, will not use an ACT or SAT test for admission. Some schools still are test required, just a handful. How will you know whether a school's test optional, test required, and what is test optional? Test optional simply means if you take the test, you have the option of submitting it. How will you know whether you've got a good score? Ask the admission counselor. We'll tell you that's a great score, submit it to our college. Every college has admissions counselors. We're here to help. At New Mexico, certainly it's an option. We say if you take the test, you've gone to the trouble to take the test, tell me what score you got and it could help. Every school will tell you that's a good score for our school. Don't be the judge on yourself. You're not a test score. Students, you have worked hard. If you're a senior, you've been in going to high school for 3 years already. And that we're going to look at what you studied, what kind of grades you got, and we know the challenges that you faced during the pandemic. Some of you are worried about the college essay. Not every college requires an essay. The Cal States, there's 23 Cal States. No essays for them. New Mexico, it's essay optional. And if a college says 350 words, don't send 500 because they'll say you can't follow directions, okay? Follow directions is pretty simple. Students, your number one fear is being admitted to college. Ask questions, follow directions. Parents, number one fear is students, you're going to be admitted to college and it's going to cost a lot. So today we're going to talk about not if or when, but where. Seniors, by this time next year, you're out of the house, you're going to college somewhere. Some of you may be transferring, doing the commuter thing, starting at a community college perhaps. Some of you are going to stay close to home. Some of you are thinking Ivy League. That's an East Coast athletic conference, some pretty good teams, schools. So let's think about the where and that decision. There are opportunities across the US, but I tell students and parents, think globally, because you could actually leave the US and go out of state, right? Out of state could be globally as well. We all live in California, or at least many of us do, and the whole world knows California. I know when I moved here, what I discovered was why people love California. Bathing beauties, Bay Area, Beverly Hills, beaches, boys, Beyonce, Bieber, everything starts with a B because California is beautiful. And then I discovered our beautiful traffic. I think everybody knows this is the 405. And I figured out why it was called the 405 because I was usually going 4 or 5 miles an hour for 4 or 5 hours with 405 of my best friends. No matter where I was trying to go, I had to experience this. And then I said, what would it be like to go to college in California? Well, there are 500,000, 500,000 high school seniors in California. So that puts a lot of pressure because it's not just the high school seniors in California trying to squeeze into the options. The whole world knows California and trying to squeeze in. And so let's talk about the options if you're going to go to college in California. Guess what? We've got 112 community colleges. Great option. If you're going to start at a community college and transfer, start connecting with the four-year school sooner than later. I always say start where you want to finish. Some may go to community college and do what's called vocational training, culinary, welding, heating, venting, air conditioning. So there are great skills that you can get by going to a community college, mechanic, easy access, and quite honestly, fairly low cost. Cal State universities, there's just 23. I say just 23, remember 500,000 high school seniors. And then we've got students from the community college transferring, and the whole world knows California. So they go all the way from Northern California down to San Diego. One of the opportunities is called Cal State, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. They're one of the Cal States. Or we say Cal Poly SLO. Now, they get the most applications, but every one of these follow the same application and the same time. It's open now until November 30th. If you waited to December 1st, and let's say you called Cal Poly SLO and said, hey, I'm just a day late, super great. They're going to say, no, you're too slow. You can't go. Entiendo, don't miss the deadlines. Every college will tell you what their deadline is. And you already know Cal State, all 23, November 30th. Go to their website, calstate.edu/apply, and start making the connection with the admissions officer that calls on your school. No matter where you go to high school, there's a Cal State representative, an admission counselor that will call on you. Send them an email, make those connections. The UCs, there's just 9 UCs. Do you see yourself at a UC? In order to go, you must have at least a 3.0 GPA. The higher the GPA, the more competitive you are. A's and B's are going to get you into college and keep you in college. SAT, ACT has changed. The window to apply to a UC is November 1st to November 30th. Again, the same deadline, but the application is open currently, and you could be working on it, not now, but after we're done today, maybe later today, this weekend. If you're thinking you're going to apply to a UC, start looking at the application. They're going to ask about your extracurricular, and you have personal insight questions, which are similar to an essay. They're asking you questions about yourself and why you think you're a good candidate for admission to a UC. You could transfer to a UC, start at a community college. Now, some of the UCs have what's called a TAG, a transfer admission guarantee. What you don't see here is UCLA, Berkeley, and San Diego. Students, families, you can transfer to UCLA, Berkeley, and San Diego. You just have to check in with them early if you're doing community college and make sure that what you're taking will transfer, generally speaking it will, and that they're accepting your credit in the major that you're going into, okay? Look at the UC, the application's open. You cannot submit for another 2 weeks, but don't miss the deadline. Remember Gary B, if you're late, you wait. And then in March, they roll out the announcement, hey, great news, you've been admitted. UCLA got 140,000 applications this year, and they admitted about 14,000 students, so about 1 in 10. And I know what you're thinking, I'm the one. Well, have plan B, or maybe plan UCSB. 1 out of 3 students got admitted, a little better, but there are great options. We've got the community college, Cal State, UC, and look at every school, your GPA, your coursework, doing honors courses or AP, your senior year. Colleges really want you to still stay strong your senior year and make sure you're doing projects. You're in not only projects, but getting those A's and B's, achievements, and your talent. Every one of you have talent, and we're going to ask you about that. There's 75 independent or private schools in California alone. So if we added it all up, and I know you hear private and you think, whoa, private costs a lot of dough to go. Maybe no, because they've got great scholarship and financial aid. And quite honestly, you can get in and out, maybe perhaps even quicker. These are the options for California students in California. Guess what? Any student from anywhere could apply, possibly be admitted, and enroll. So these are world universities, community colleges, Cal State, UCs, the independents. Out of state could be great. Don't wait. I always ask students, anybody ever think about study abroad? And hands go up. And I said, well, why not leave state? That's almost study abroad, kind of on a small scale initially. You get that, hey, I'm away from home experience. I tell students all the time, the further you go, the more you grow, right? And part of going to college, you're going to learn in the classroom, but you also are going to get the experience of wherever you're at. But I know sometimes when I say out of state, people shut down and say, cost too much dough, can't go. No, there are great options beyond California that don't cost a lot of money, no matter where you live. Look at some of the neighboring states. Many states have a great, in the Western US, we have what's called the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. I say by going to a new location, you're going to get a great experience. I live in Ventura and the weather's ideal, and that doesn't mean I deal with it. We don't get snow, we don't get heat, we don't get humidity, and great food. I mean, no matter, I love to travel and I haven't been able to do that, but when my wife and I travel, we like to go out to eat. When we were in New Orleans, or as they say, Nolans, we got to have some different cuisine than I don't find that here in Ventura, right? The Cajun, Creole, jambalaya. Oh my, it was great. Part of going away to college is to know who you are. Right now, you're in that, I'm 16, 17, 18, trying to explore myself. You're going to make new friends. You've got friends now, new friends, friends perhaps that are connections for your entire life. You're going to grow in confidence and that independence. Every parent wants their child to move away from home, not too soon, but eventually. And so how does that happen? By getting confident and independent. So let's talk about the WUI program. The WUI, in 2 words, is tuition reduction. If you live in the Western US, you can go to a neighboring state and pay reduced tuition. I live in California. If I was going to high school here, I could go to New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, Washington, Oregon, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, New Mexico. Many states, including New Mexico. Oh, wait, I work for them. But all these states are looking for students. There are 500,000 high school seniors in California, and you could transfer on the WUI program as well. So keep that in mind, okay? So what's tuition reduction? Where you live, you're going to pay resident tuition at a public school. If you go out of state, you're a non-resident at a public school. Private schools don't have in-state, out-of-state tuition. How about that? And there are colleges that have this special tuition called the WUI tuition, okay? Look how many students left California just last year to go out of state. Thousands. More students left California than all the other states combined, because there are more students here than almost all the other states combined. Here's basically how the program works at New Mexico. Each school's a little different. If you lived in New Mexico, tuition would be $9,000. You don't, it's almost 26. But with a 3.0, you get this special tuition rate called the WUI Plus. You paid exactly the same thing. Just remember, 3.0 gets you a whole lot of dough to go. Entiendo? Not just at New Mexico, but every school. A's and B's are what's going to get you in and keep you going. There's the FAFSA. We're going to talk about that. That's need-based aid and other scholarships. So there's a great opportunity to pay for college by keeping your grades up, students. You want to know how to get the dough? Be admitted. That's the #1 thing. Ask questions, follow directions. You've got to meet the qualifications. Each school, and there's 86 of us that have this WUI tuition in the West, will tell you what it takes to qualify. And then some of us, New Mexico, there's no separate application. Our application is actually a twofer. So you're applying for admission and scholarship, but not every school is that way. You've got to ask, okay? I want you to write down this website, witchy.edu/WUI. That's where you can look up the other schools, the 86 institutions, colleges that offer the WUI tuition, witchy.edu/WUI. But then reach out to the admission counselors, the admission office, and say, hey, I live, tell them where you live. I'm interested in this program, right? Tell us what major you want to study if you know. Undecided's a major, trust me. And then we'll say, okay, here's your admission counselor. Let's talk about the criteria, what takes, what grades. Many of us are test optional, so you don't need an ACT or SAT test, which is wonderful because of the difficult access. At one school, you'll be eligible for admission and another school competitive. Remember, at UC's, 3.0 was the minimum to be eligible. And at New Mexico, 3.0 got you a lot of dough to go. Each school's a little different. Each school's a little different. Let's talk about the college search. You just can't put in the perfect college for Gary B, hit the button, I'm feeling lucky, it pops right up. No, you've got to do a little bit of work. But what are some of the factors when students start looking? What I say, hey, think about the location. Where do you want to live? And when I say location, I don't mean the college. What's the city, the environment, that sort of thing? What's the weather like? What do you like to do? You could stay in the US, you could look beyond the US. There's options throughout the world. Look, I couldn't live in Metro, right? I live in Ventura. We're a coastal community, or we're kind of urban. We're certainly suburban-ish, and some of you might want rural, agricultural, and that exists. There are big colleges in small towns. There are small colleges in big towns, and there's a mix. So think about the location. What kind of weather? If you like snow, there's places to go. And I live in Southern California. Did you know it snows in New Mexico? There you go. So every place is a little different. Soka University, they're in Mission Viejo with 450 total students. New Mexico's a medium-sized school. The biggest school in the US, public school, is Arizona State University with 70,000 students. They've got classes the same size as Soka. That's crazy. Soka's got 450 students. That's just enormous when you think about 70,000. We know it costs a lot. We're going to bring the cost down here. Well, the WUI program, but remember, out the door in 4 you score. Students, your goal is to graduate in 4 years. Parents, you want them done in 4, right? Move on to the job market. Every student that applies, you've got to do one of 2 things. You're either win because you're in or pout because you're out. No, don't pout, just move on, right? So think about it. You're going to apply. If you don't get admitted, don't go to that school. You'll get arrested for trespassing. No, don't do that. But let's talk about FIT. And FIT, I always say, is an acronym for finding it. And what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for an academic fit. Students, by going to high school and getting good grades and doing English, math, social science, natural science, language other than English, you're doing the core courses that make you college ready. You are ready, prepared when you graduate from high school to go to a 4-year. But does the college have what you're looking for? Ask us. I like these 3 things. I like these 4 things. I'd like to do research when I'm in college. No one ever says, hey, Gary B, I want to go to college and hear about it. No, you want to do it and talk about that with the admissions office. There's a social fit. What kind of clubs? I like going to basketball games and watching and yelling my go team. So if that's what you like to do, do they have that? Sororities, fraternities. I have friends that are gamers and they like the gaming club. So whatever you like to do, ask about that. And then there's a financial fit. So let's talk about the cost of going to college. There are direct costs. And the question to ask is, what's the COA? How much will I really pay? Okay. Direct cost are tuition and fees, housing and dining. That means you're paying the college. If you live on campus, there's off-campus housing at many colleges. We realize that. And you can definitely get off-campus housing. But I recommend students, you live on campus, the food's good, the housing's great, you don't have to worry about parking or making it, and you're going to make instant friends. There's indirect cost, books and supplies, transportation, and my 2 best friends in life, Jamba Juice, Starbucks, pizza, popcorn, all that fun stuff, that all adds up. Remember, private schools do not have in-state or out-of-state tuition. They've got just one. They've got tuition, trust me. Public schools, you're a resident, non-resident, but ask about the WUI, regional reciprocity, or any, no matter where, if you're watching this from any state, talk to your counselor in high school and say, hey, do neighboring states have a special program? And they do. Housing and dining on campus today, it's glamour. I love it. There's apartments, there's suites, and they are sweet. All right. Hey, books and supplies. I think we all know ebooks. That means expensive. It costs a lot. Parking is even a cost. Did you know colleges charge to park? Crazy, right? You're paying all that money for tuition, housing, and now you still have to pay to park. Well, guess what? Part of it. And then, as I said, all this fun. And so that's part of what we call the COA. So these 5 factors are what add up. So anytime you talk to an admission counselor, what's the COA? How much will I really pay? Okay. And if you live in California, to go to Cal State for 1 year is $25,000, or UC would be $35,000. If you don't live in California, it's even more. Out-of-state public universities, if you went to New Mexico, your total cost is about the same as if you lived in California and went to a UC. But out-of-state public schools, there are great deals out there. But I know you see that, and students and parents start saying, OMG, oh my Gary B, that's crazy. That's so much dough. I don't know if I can afford to go. I'm thinking Ivy League, isn't that expensive? Oh, my dad's praying the money will fall from the sky. It won't. But let's talk a great resource to help students pay for college. I call it financial aid. Now, financial aid could be need-based, merit, or combo. Let's start by talking about merit. Merit in a single word is talent. And I said earlier, every student has some natural ability. Colleges want to take your natural ability and guess what? Develop it. That's why we exist. We're going to take your natural ability and make it into a marketable skill. You can take your skill now from college and get a job. I was born with the math gene, so I got a math scholarship. Some of you might be athletes. Colleges, quite honestly, aren't looking for athletes. Yes, if you're athletic, you may get a scholarship, but whatever talent you have, I wish I was a better public speaker, it would help me with this job, right? So you're going to get your skill by working at it in college. Take your natural abilities. There are grants, research grants. Colleges are doing the research that's changing the world, and they're looking for students to come in and get paid to help. Small loans are available. Just be careful when you take a loan because you'll be asked to pay it back. And let's talk about the great JOB program. I say JOB, jump out of bed and get to work. Guess what? You jumped out of bed on a Saturday and you're watching this if you're live, and if you're watching it later, we're talking about every A and every B that you get, students, help you and your family pay for college. Every college has scholarship. Corporations, where you work, where your parents work, foundation, talk to your high school counselors. Let's talk government money. Write down FAFSA, F-A-F-S-A, F-A-F-S-A. The FAFSA for seniors in high school is open currently. You should submit that. It's need-based aid. Class of 2022, you can file anytime. I always say apply before pie, you'll be a happy guy. Get this done before Thanksgiving. When you sit down for Thanksgiving, you want to have all your applications for college and the FAFSA done. When you sit down, students, and somebody says, hey, you're a senior, where you're going to college? Hey, I've got everything done. Don't Cool Whip me. It's time for pie. I'm a happy guy. Okay. Fill out this form online. The government will get back to you. So go to FAFSA.ed.gov, FAFSA.ed.gov. And once you fill out this form, you're going to get back what's called the EFC. That's an index of your ability to pay for college. It's not what you're going to pay. It's an index. Colleges, remember, have a COA. How much will you really pay? Well, guess what? Your need is met with grants, loans, and work study. Work study, the government pays colleges to hire students. Did you know that? Well, now you do. All right. Get the FAFSA done after you get your applications. Get all your applications done. And then when you're doing the FAFSA, you can say where you have applied. Now, if you're still working on an application, you can still get your FAFSA submitted, even if you haven't submitted that application, okay? Always be thinking about scholarship. Students, you don't have to pay scholarship back. It's money that you've earned with your talents, your good grades, your community service. Here are some websites College Board has big future. There's FastWeb, scholarship.com. I tell students all the time. How are we doing on time there, Kim? We've got about 8 more minutes.
We're doing good. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Perfect. Just my clock went out. So definitely students, take advantage of these opportunities and start looking for scholarship. There's another website, scholarship.unm.edu/scholarship. That's general. Look for, hey, I'm going into computer science. Well, you don't need to be looking for nursing scholarships. Look for comp sci, or if you're going into nursing, you're not looking for architectural scholarship. So put into your search engine the kind of scholarship. And there are scholarships for freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. You don't have to wait till you're a senior. Start working on scholarships. I always say 3, 2, 1. Do 3 in September, 2 in October, 1 in November. If you do that 3, 2, 1, you'll have 6 applications submitted for scholarship. And then guess what? By November, you're doing your college applications, you're doing the FAFSA, everything's done. Everything's done. I think we all know what scams are. Scam, scholarship costing any money. Don't pay. You're trying to get money. Don't pay somebody to get you money. You're spending, not getting, right? Don't miss the deadlines. It's so important. You miss deadlines, colleges say you can't follow directions. Is there a separate application? When you're applying to college, sometimes it's automatic, other times it's separate. Do I have to be admitted? You will not get a college scholarship from the college till you're admitted, but there are outside sources. And ask what's being reviewed. Do I need to submit a transcript? Do I self-report? You will get scholarship. Work at this, students. We want to help. Colleges have money, foundations, corporations, your high school, check in, find the dough to help you go. If your parents served in the military, there is great military veteran benefits. If you're thinking about joining the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, you could go to college and they help pay for it. You come out with a degree and a job as an officer in the military. Great option. Every college during the pandemic did what we call virtual tours. So you can go online to any college. Once you connect with your admission counselor, say, let me do a, some colleges are, again, New Mexico included, hosting students and parents on campus. Great, small family groups. Scholarship, work on scholarship. You're at a college fair, college presentation right now. I appreciate it. Start connecting with admission counselors and use professional email. Don't miss deadlines. Watch your grammar, your punctuation, your spelling. And students, be kind. Be kind to yourself. The last 18 months during the pandemic has been a super hard time, difficult challenge. If you're having a difficult time, talk to someone, talk to your counselor, talk to your friends, talk to your parents. Be kind to your brothers and sisters. Be kind to your parents. Be kind to your high school teachers. We're all here to work together and utilize your admission counselor. We definitely want you to go to college. I'm going to talk about New Mexico for 2 minutes, then we'll have time for Q&A. What do you say? I started at the University of New Mexico in 1974 as a student. Kim's gasping right now, looking at that picture going, oh my, Gary B., you were a youngster. So I always ask, what do you know about the University of New Mexico? And I always hear UNM, unfortunately, not much. So I always say UNM, university not close to mom. You're leaving home and going away to college unless you live in Albuquerque. And I know when I say Albuquerque, you think flat and hot. We're not. We're similar to Denver, UNM, university next to mountains. And I told you earlier, we get snow. Did you know? Snow in New Mexico? 200 different majors. I always say UNM. You name a major, we probably have it. UNM, University for Nursing and Medicine. UNM, University for Nuclear, Mechanical, and every other kind of engineering. UNM, University with a number of management programs. If you're into film, Netflix is in Albuquerque, and I always say UNM, University for Netflix movies. If you're not sure, UNM, undecided, no more, come explore, options explore, will open the door to something you're looking for. Dining 24/7, UNM, unlimited number of meals. And paying for college, UNM, you need money, we've got scholarship. The minute you apply for admission, and this students, seniors, you could apply anytime for free. We don't require an ACT, SAT. By applying, you have said, I want to go to this school. You will be admitted within 2 weeks. You're not committed. You don't decide UNM until next May. Seniors, apply today, decide next May. That's the way to play, I say. There's my email, Gary B. Stay in touch with me. Scholarship, with a 2.8, you will get the WUI. 3.0, even more dough to help you go. And it's a twofer. You're applying for admission and scholarship. Here's the bottom line cost. Remember, seniors, you can apply now. I'll tell you how. Do it online. It'll save you time. Use your phone. Do it at home. Either way, do it today. Enter your courses. Put in your grades. I don't need an ACT, SAT test, and I'll do the rest. Remember, 3.0 gets you big dough to help you go. You got a 4, you could get more. Don't be a fool. Stay in school. It's cool. Go to college. Get the knowledge. Gary B, remember me when you're making that list. UNM, University not to be missed. And just for Kim, I'll dab out. All right, Gary B, remember me. Ask questions, follow directions. We'll stop the share. And that gives us just a few minutes here for all the questions that students have. All right.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much, Gary. That dab was amazing. Loved it. We definitely have some questions. One of the questions we have from Mandy, they had asked, if you're undocumented, can you apply to FAFSA, and should you?
If you're undocumented, depends on what state you live in. If you're California, you will be able to get some California money. It's difficult for undocumented to get federal money, but there is state money and certainly institutional money. So institution means colleges have money for, at New Mexico, undoc's not a problem. The state of California, there's California Grant and other California funds. There you are. So in California, the California Dream Act, and you definitely go there, and there's lots of money for undocs in California. Don't think you can't and shouldn't go to college. And the WUI program is for residents. It's not based on citizenship. So if you're a resident means where do you live? Hey, I live in Arizona. Well, great. You could come to California as a non-resident, or I live in California. I could go to Arizona, New Mexico. Definitely. So don't think that because you're not a citizen that you can't go, shouldn't go, can't get funds. Okay, definitely. So lots of money out there to help students and parents. Start by connecting with the admission counselors at any college and your high school as well. Your counselors there know a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gary, for answering that.
Somebody said, you let Gary know that his way of speaking was good and his presentation was great. Well, I'm a good speaker and I had a great presentation. I'll take that.
No, you did great. You're amazing. One of the questions I just did answer, but one of them asked, like, how do you find scholarships and grants? But, you know, I'm curious to hear, like, what does that look like for students who are applying out of state as well?
Oh, yeah. Every college has scholarship to help students. So start by connecting with them. But then there's what we call the third party scholarships. Everybody knows the SAT. So go to College Board, and in College Board, what you can do, they say scholarships. And those third party scholarships from the Rotary Club, from Ford and Target and Kohl's, they can be used at any college anywhere. So, and even global colleges have scholarship. I have friends that work for Australian, English, Irish, French colleges. I mean, maybe you want to go to Paris. Go to regional admissions. I'll put this one in there. I'm going to type this website, regionaladmissions.com, regionaladmissions.com. Go to regionaladmissions.com and go to the directory. And there's 120 different colleges out of state from California. We live in California. So definitely a lot of money and help out there. So that's the number one thing. As I started the conversation by saying, ask questions. Okay, so one of the questions is, show me the dough to help me go. And where do you ask the admission counselor, ask your high school counselor. There are some high schools that local businesses have students get money. I'm always reticent to say give money, because students, you've got to ask for it, you got to work at it. It's not just you woke up and here's money under the pillow like the tooth fairy. It doesn't work that way, right? You've got to do an application, you've got to work at it. And that's why I say 3, 2, 1. Typically, if you're a junior, do 3 during the summer, a couple in September, October, and get one more just before Thanksgiving. The more you apply for, and I don't apply for 100, that's not the goal. 6, super 6. Find those 6 that are for you. Hey, because of any factor that you have, you're unique, your talent, right? I said I went to college on math scholarships. I was super good at math, still am. Ask my wife. She'll say, hey, honey, I need help with my checkbook. I go, yeah, we need more money. No, I'm kidding. Well, that's true too, another story. But anyhow, but definitely you have skills, whatever you're good at, marching band, any instruments that you play, dance or cheer, their scholarship, whatever your skill. Hey, I want to go into this field. There's companies that are hiring. The government has money through the FAFSA, but there's companies that are going to be hiring as well. So reach out to there. Just Google search scholarships and then put in your uniqueness, your talent.
Absolutely. Well, Gary B., thank you so much. We're down to 2 minutes before we end, but what an amazing presentation with so much great information and resources. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Yes.
Destination College. Kim.
Thank you so much. All right.